So welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to show y'all how I studied for pharm. That's a question that I get like a lot from people that are in that part of nursing school at the beginning, or like thinking about it or about to start, just because I think it's seen as like it's one of the hardest topics, but it's really not. It's just like, as far as like information, it's massive. So yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. So yeah, pharm was a minute ago for me, but yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it is it's the one class, or one of the only classes in nursing school, that it's purely like memorization. It does help sometimes. You can kind of understand what is literally happening in your body in order for a certain medication to work, and that might help you. But for a lot of like the symptoms and things like that, just what not to do, what to do, it's memorization. So anyone can learn it. It's not like, oh, you need to think a certain way or anything like that. So yeah, let's get right into it. So as far as books, for my nursing program, we use ATI. So this was our pharm textbook. Mine is all torn up now, and I have like all these flags and stuff in it. But I do like to tally, or not tally, but like flag sometimes. Like, it's basically exactly what the chapter says, but I tagged like respiratory, neuro, eye and ear, things like that. And I usually did a certain exam in a certain color, so I know like, okay, this is exam 1 and it was blue, so whatever I'm looking at is going to be under one of those blue tabs. So it's not like necessary, but I did it. And so inside my book, what I would do is every class, we had voiceovers, and then we'd of course have a lecture. So let's see, let's find the one that I did a lot of. We'll go with the blood pressure medications. So basically what I would do is first go online and I'd look at the voiceover and I'd take a highlighter. I usually took yellow with the voiceovers, and what I would do is just highlight anything that is said in the voiceover, highlight it in the book, and I would also make notes. So right here, I even made a key. So I did the yellow highlighting and the purple pen during the voiceover, and then I did the blue highlighting and the blue pen during lecture. So what I would do is just highlight in the voiceover everything that's said, write notes if I couldn't find that already in the book, and then once I get to class, I would double highlight. So I tried to use colors when I could, like right now, this one I did the yellow and the blue. That way when you highlight over together, it looks kind of green. So I can see this is what's double highlighted, which means like my professor not only mentioned the voiceover, but they mentioned it in class as well. So that was what we were like kind of taught or encouraged to do, and just like by word of mouth from upper level students as a thing that would work. Because if 9 times out of 10, if it was in both voiceover and lecture, it's gonna be in your test. Like, you need to know it. So that's what I would do, just because if not, this book is huge. There's so many things, and you can't just try to memorize an entire book. So that is how I like did my book, and that's what I do first: voiceover, and then I'd go to class, double highlight, and then from there, I would make drug cards. So I know before I entered nursing school, it was required, but by the time like I started level 1, you didn't have to make drug cards and like turn them in. But yeah, instead of using like the template on mine, I kind of made mine. So what I would do, maybe I'll try to find the same one, is just write them out. So I would write like what it's called, what they do, in the names of like the specific like nitroprusside, nitroglycerin, nicardipine, and enalaprilat, don't know how to say that, and esmolol, and then put the information. So this one only has 2, just I put adverse effects, and then in the book it's called nursing actions. Nursing administration. Yeah, I tried to title my notes in a way that like they're understood by me reading them. So I put the adverse effects, and then for nursing administration, I put what do I do. So under this one, it says like must administer through an individual line and give in the ICU only, and keep the IV container and tubing away from light. So that's like, as the nurse, it's like things that I need to do when dealing with this medication. So I don't know, that just really helped me personally. And okay, here's a better one that I can show y'all. So this one is about Digoxin. So I wrote each thing, like each category of whatever in one color, and I tried to keep it consistent throughout all of my drug cards. So red, like the kill you, adverse effects, side effects, would always be in red because like they will kill you. Like these are like absolute no's. Some things like, let me think, like, I can't think of which medication, but it's like a vasodilator, and it's magnesium. It's common to get kind of flushed and like rosy cheeks. You get a little bit of warm, but when you decrease, like your level of consciousness decreases, now that's an adverse effect. Like you're showing signs of toxicity. So basically, yeah. If a drug can become toxic, there's probably some like serious adverse effects versus like side effects. Like you expect this to happen. Like some medications make you kind of nauseous. Opioids make you constipated. Like that's expected. You won't necessarily like get constipated or get nauseous or whatever. But if you do, it's like, we know this is not life or death. This is just something that happens. So yeah. I have what it's called. So this is a cardiac heart failure med, Digoxin. So what it does is slows and strengthens your heart rate. It is a positive inotrope because that means it increases the force of contraction, and it's a negative chronotrope because it decreases your heart rate. And you can use it for heart failure and dysrhythmias like AFib, and then interactions or Digoxin. You can get toxic from it. So over here, I wrote the antidote, which is Digibind or Digifab. And then interactions, it says to use it with thiazide diuretics can cause hypokalemia or low potassium. And what else? I don't think I have it written on here, but the reason that I put that hypokalemia one is because basically if your potassium level's off, you're at a higher risk for like Digoxin toxicity. Can't think of why, but just that's like a thing. So yeah, if you use it with those thiazide diuretics, then you're at a higher risk for messing up like basically having a potassium imbalance, which will put you at risk for Digoxin toxicity. ACEs and ARBs, they increase your risk of hyperkalemia, and then verapamil and amiodarone will increase the Digoxin level. And so Digoxin has like a very small like therapeutic range, like 0.5 to 2 of Digoxin in your body is like the norms. If it's lower, it's not effective. If it's higher, you're gonna be in toxicity. And then what do? I put never double dose, check the pulse rate, because with Digoxin, since it slows your heart rate down, if your heart rate's too low, you can't have it. So check your apical pulse for 1 minute before you give. You hold if the heart rate's less than 60 in adults, less than 70 in kids, and less than 90 in infants. Just because if your heart rate's already borderline low, and then I give you this medication, it's gonna drop too low. So, and then monitor the Digoxin levels, give it slow over at least 5 minutes, monitor their body weight, input, output, and observe for signs of Digoxin toxicity, which is like the trademark sign is the, what's it called? Yellow-green halos. So kind of like that, it's like a Van Gogh painting. Hopefully maybe I'll remember to like put it right there. But it's like a Van Gogh painting with the little yellow stars. I'm sure it has a name, I don't know it. And yeah, some people say like he could have been experiencing Digoxin toxicity because of what he painted. That's what yellow-green halos would look like. And I can't remember, in infants, they show a different sign just because they can't tell you, hey, I'm seeing these yellow-green halos, like they can't talk. In the exact order, what I do is listen to the voiceover. Pause it as many times as I need to, highlight, rewind, play it back, highlight what I needed, make notes, try to really understand. Like, not really understand, but at least get a vague understanding of what the heck is going on? So then I go to class and I get to hear my teacher explain it a different way. And so this time I have another color, I'm double highlighting and making more notes if I need to. So now I'm like, okay, cool, I really understand it. In class, sometimes we do like little case studies where we're kind of like implementing these medications and what you do, like if they started experiencing DIG toxicity, like you would be given the signs and then the question would be like, what could you intervene? So you get to kind of walk that through with the case study. So now I'm done with lecture. So then I go home, I make my drug cards for the unit or for half the unit. Typically each exam was broken up into 2 to 3 lectures. So go home and make my drug cards. And then I have these. And so now at this point, I've seen this information at minimum 3 times from voiceover, class, drug card. So you're like, okay, I kind of understand the gist of it. I get it, digoxins for heart failure, okay. So now it's time, once I've done that for all of the things, it's time to study before the test. So what I personally like to do is go to the library or any place that has whiteboards, or if I couldn't, or even sometimes when I did, I would have my own little whiteboard. And so what I would do is that same thing, basically make my drug card over and over again and erase pieces until I could recall it from memory. Because it's just, to me, I have to, for things like that, I need to actively study. I can't just look at it and go, okay, contraindications, pregnancy, renal stenosis, one. Like, that's gonna take me a lot longer. I could do that, but it will take me forever. And I learned, like, okay, each like drug class, they tell you like a name for the drugs. So like I was saying earlier, let's see, the statins for cholesterol, they are called HMG CoA reductase inhibitors. Like that's their class that they're in. Don't get caught up on that. Because for my very first pharm exam, I did. So I was getting very caught up on, our first one was pain meds. So I was caught up on non-opioid versus agonist, antagonist opioids versus opioid agonists. No question is gonna say, how do you go with opioid agonists? They're just not gonna say that, you know? They're gonna ask you about morphine or ask you about fentanyl. It doesn't matter what class they're in. So I wrote that down, but I started writing a lot smaller because I was connecting all of the side effects and things to know and contraindications, things like that, to the topic of opioid agonists versus connecting those to the drug of morphine. So when I see a question about morphine, I had to try to think, okay, crap, was that an opioid agonist or opioid antagonist? And I think it's antagonist. That's wrong, but that's what I'm gonna pull all my side effects from. So if you see what I'm saying, like you have to attach those to the name because they're not gonna test you over the class or like the category of the drug. They're gonna test you, asking you about a specific drug. Okay guys, so y'all just saw my beginning of my how I studied for pharm video, and the video came out a lot longer than I would have liked. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right there, and this is gonna be part 1, and then part 2 I'll show y'all how I use my whiteboard, because I feel like that was like the key to me getting the grade that I did in pharm. And I've already recorded that part, but me writing on the board, of course it takes some time, so that video would be like 30 minutes, and I don't want to do that to anybody, including myself, because I have to wait for that to upload, and that will take forever. So this is part 1. So like I said, the keys to my studying, all I do is voiceover, lecture, and whiteboard. So highlight in voiceover, double highlight in the lecture, and drug cards, and then my whiteboard. And so yeah, next video, part 2, I'll post it in a few days. It'll have how I use my whiteboard, even though I feel like I kind of explained it a little bit already just now, but I'll go in depth and really show you guys how I used it and how it works for me. So yeah, I really hope y'all like this video. Thank y'all so much for supporting my channel and watching my videos. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.